Well, thank you for joining us today. We've got with us Meg Bear, who is the SVP of Product Engineering and Operations from SAP SuccessFactors. Meg, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited to talk to you. There's so much going on in the marketplace. So with that, why don't we go ahead and get right into it? So listen, there is a tremendous amount of investment across HCM and education tech leaders in self-sovereign career identities. Why do you think this investment is growing so strong in the last few years?
Well, sure. So first off, thank you for having me. This is a really exciting topic for us at SAP. And I can tell you that the way we look at it is really about opportunity within the HXM arena. So human experience, we believe, is the future of HR technology. And the concept of that is really about putting the individual in control of their destiny, of their future, but also in helping an organization grow. So what we're seeing as a trend in the marketplace is that there is a need for, first off, more ownership and agency for individuals, as well as a need to think about skills and upskilling very differently. As you and I both know, the requirements to do your job today are not the same as yesterday, and they're certainly not going to be the same tomorrow. So the need to accelerate innovation around learning is very strong for business and for individuals. And the ability to make that something that the individual owns, so that's the concept of this self-sovereignty, is giving me control of my future and frankly, what I know and how I know it. We see that as really where things are going. And we see that they're going that way because that's the only way that we're going to sustain the need in the market.
So do you think that individuals are going to be asking and driving for this more and more? It seems to be coming from the technology side, but are individuals going to be driving this?
Yeah, so it's a really important trend to kind of understand. So the technology piece is obviously critical. It's what opens up the opportunity and the possibility. And we've seen this trend happen in other parts of our market and in other places, where first you got the technology, but then the individuals recognize what that technology does for them. And so what's beautiful about this vision that Velocity is bringing together is that it's recognizing that trend, and it's creating a foundation that's actually sustainable to support that trend. So if you ask me, I absolutely believe that it's the individuals that are going to drive this. We as individuals are really what has moved forward any big innovation across any dimension. But of course, the technology needs to be there to sort of show the way and create the opportunity for individuals. And so we see opportunities like Velocity as a way to help enable individuals to take charge of their own change, and then organizations to use that to really support business goals.
Yeah. So it's interesting, organization, employers, you have a ton of obviously many organizations and employers who are your clients, and more are reaching out and asking for information, entering this space. But it is a change, I think, for employers to think about delivering individual credentials to individuals as opposed to holding it in their centralized database. With all of this investment from the tech side, do you think that employers are really going to be issuing credentials anytime soon?
So I do believe that that business follows what really works, right? And so you're right that that what worked in the past was holding tight all the information about people and controlling their career paths and their futures. But everybody recognizes that that doesn't scale to the needs of the future, and business sees that. And so that change is part of the bigger changes we're seeing in our ecosystem, digital transformation, and the sort of growth of how business is really adapting to the needs of the market. And so I see this as a trend. And so basically, to get to your core question, will business get on board quickly? I actually believe they will, because you've got the perfect combination of forces. You've got the pragmatism of a real business problem. Very simply, we know that there's a need to understand credentials in hiring. There's a need to understand credentials in background checks, all of these things that have been part of existing and traditional processes. And then you see the trend opportunity, which is tied to the self-sovereign nature and the growth of what do you really want to credential, right? So in the past, you wanted to credential very strict and very specific things, university attendance or past job history or very complex certifications. But in the future, what you really want to credential is what do those individuals know? And is that important for my business? And so really, when you look at this as a trajectory, the need is here now, the tools are here now, but the opportunity is really very much in front of us. And it is a very strong growth trajectory that I think you and I both have seen, having been in this market for a long time and thinking about how corporate learning works, thinking about how individual learning works, and thinking about how careers are built. All of these things, they need something new to really meet the needs. And so I do see business jumping on board. I see there's a great entry for them in this foundation framework, but I think that the real opportunity lies in front.
So your organization decided to join with other industry titans to become part of the Velocity Network Foundation, championing the deployment of these self-sovereign digital credentials. And I'm curious, why not take the approach of others, right, and build a proprietary approach? Why did you get engaged now and join the foundation instead of, building your own solution?
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple pieces to this. So first is kind of my own view of what the future holds for both technology and opportunity, but also the SAP view, right? We feel very strongly that the pace that is required is really only going to be served by openness. And so we look at this across our platform. So our entire intelligent enterprise is about being an open platform that is easy to bring innovation in and to make it really extensible across an enterprise. So that's kind of the core of where we're coming from as an organization. But then for myself personally and for the HXM vision, I think it's even stronger than that, because HXM is really about empowering the individual. It's about changing what was historically a command and control system to one that brings agency, opportunity to the individual, and that really helps them help business, as opposed to just being told what to do or forced into something through business. And so in order to do that well, you really need to think bigger than just a single instance. You need to think bigger than just a single company or a single business. And you need to think about what's right for the individual. And when you think about what's right for the individual, it becomes very clear that open wins, that the more agency you give for the individual, the better opportunity you're going to create for that individual, and that is going to yield more fruit. And what we love about the Velocity, both the vision and the execution, is it's not just open, but it is it's created in a way that creates opportunity for everybody that's part of it, at the vendor side, at the company side, and at the individual side. So it's really well aligned with how we see the vision for our future here at SAP and the future of work, really.
Well, you mentioned the openness, and certainly Velocity Network is built in a open source technology stack, and it's governed by the members, the board members elected from this broad industry base. Why do you think that democratic governance matters? Why does that make a difference?
So it matters for two reasons. One, because this is going to be an evolving and adapting space. And so having people really collaborate on that is important. So that's where the sort of open and adaptable, you need to build a foundation that it can grow and evolve over time. And the democratic side, I think, is pretty obvious. We want to make sure that this delivers based on the promise, right? That it doesn't get siloed into one particular group's ownership, but that it is really held to the ideals of moving this forward for the individuals, right? In a way that protects their data, but makes it very easily available to them and completely portable for them to use it where it makes sense for them. And so when you get back to our vision of HXM, human experience is bigger than any one company, and it's bigger than any one business function, and it's bigger than any one technology. And frankly, personally, and within SAP, we care deeply about that. We believe that the future, the more open that you make it, the more that you trust people to really help craft the future, the quicker you're going to get to it, and the more you're going to like it when you get there. So that's kind of just philosophically, I think, very well aligned.
Yeah, well, you've certainly covered many of the benefits that you see for the individual, first and foremost, for organizations. But as kind of a final question, what unique differentiators or unique value proposition do you think that your organization, SAP and SAP SuccessFactors and its various constituents, what is that unique value proposition that you see yourselves bringing to your clients, to your constituents by being a part of this overall Velocity Network initiative?
Yeah, so Yvette, I think, again, you more than most know this, but it's important to remind everyone that SuccessFactors innovated the entire concept of talent and kind of performance management and the growth and focus of individuals in their careers. That's kind of the anchor and the core that SuccessFactors started with. And then, of course, as part of SAP, we've really looked at this across the entire ecosystem with our intelligent enterprise. But right now, in this moment, our vision and our focus has been very much thinking about individual growth, right? Around learning, around upskilling and reskilling, and about creating opportunity throughout the life cycle, really leaning on this vision of human experience management and saying, how do we co-create the future with individuals, and how do we craft opportunities for them to develop and grow and to meet the needs of business, but to also bring the future of work to a place that we all want to be. And so within our ecosystem, we have the most innovative customers. We've got the most customers that are really focused on this problem. And we're deeply committed to bringing this all together for the future. So our entire learning strategy, we're calling it Learning in the Intelligent Enterprise, is not just about training, and it's not just about credentials. It's about giving you opportunity to grow your skills, whether those opportunities are experiences or formal certifications and credentialed things, whether those opportunities are training or partnering with someone to work on something. Like the entire view of how do we help individuals grow their own opportunities and take those opportunities wherever they need to go. And so again, Velocity is right there in sort of straight line into helping to bring that forward, and we see that as a really unique piece of our overall broader strategy.
Well, Meg, I got to tell you, I'm so excited to have SAP as one of the founding members of the Velocity Network Foundation. We're so glad that you are at the helm of this initiative, and we look forward to co-creating the future with you. Thank you so much for your time and your insights today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm really excited.